Hey everybody, welcome to my YouTube vlog. Let's talk about the YouTube Gold Rush. The YouTube Gold Rush. What am I talking about? I'm talking about all these young vloggers who see a potential to make a career out of building videos, or creating videos rather, for YouTube. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about some reality. So I'm not trying to discourage you, because I think any entrepreneurial activity, whether it be creative or technology or wherever you happen to pursue that, I think it's cool. You might as well try it, especially when you're young, when you have the opportunity to be able to make mistakes and fail, and there's no major consequences. Because when you get older and you're married and you may have kids or you may have other dependents, and that is a much more difficult time to start a business, because you got to pay the bills. But when you're young, you got some flexibility there, so that's a good thing. So let me tell you a little bit of story that is very much related to, strangely enough, to the YouTube Gold Rush, as they call it. The rush to become a YouTube vlogger and to make money selling ads and becoming the next PewDiePie or Casey Neistat or whatever. So, first of all, understand that people like PewDiePie and Casey Neistat are very rare and lucky. They hit something they probably didn't expect to hit. And one thing that's kind of interesting about these big YouTubers is that they were amongst the first, or the first, to do something on YouTube. So PewDiePie was one of the first gaming vloggers, as far as I understand. Casey Neistat was one of the first guys to come out there with his style of editing and heavy use of drones and so forth. So it's kind of his thing, so on and so forth. So if you, rule number one, if you get into this and you're just copying them, chances are you're not going to do so well, because you're just copying them like so many other people. So let's go back to the California Gold Rush, because it relates to this whole YouTube Gold Rush. Now, the California Gold Rush happened, whatever, 100 years ago, 1900s. And I think you can look it up on Wikipedia. The point is that people discovered gold in California. So everybody said, okay, we got to go to California. We're going to get rich. We're going to discover gold. We're going to go prospecting for gold. So the reality situation is most of the people who went prospecting for gold never found gold. Most of them failed. And the biggest fortunes, ironically, made in the California Gold Rush was not digging for gold. The biggest fortunes were made in supplying the equipment to the gold diggers, the pickaxes and the shovels and the tents and all the other supplies that were required. Those suppliers of these tools to get into the California Gold Rush, they're the guys who made most of the money. So there's a lesson in that with regards to YouTube. I watch a lot of these YouTube creators, and a lot of people out there are going out there buying very expensive Canon or Sony cameras, or Panasonic camera GH5s, and they got dreams of becoming the next big YouTube vlogger. Now, chances are, through sheer because of the sheer competition and the sheer number of people out there, there we go, you're not going to be one of the big successful ones. Again, I'm not trying to dissuade you, but I'm trying to help you to understand that when you get into any business venture, you have to consider the averages. The averages are always a good indicator. Why? Because they're the averages. If they weren't the averages, that means a lot of people wouldn't be in that positions, right? You know, I hope I'm making sense there. So remember, the averages equal what happens to most people most of the time. That's why they're the averages, right? People like Casey Neistat, PewDiePie, especially PewDiePie, and so on and so forth, these big vloggers, they are far from being the averages. They're what we call the outliers. They're the rare cases. Again, I'm not saying don't do it, but what I'm trying to help you understand is that you got to understand that this is it's highly probable that you will not be the rare person. It's like the lottery ticket winner. It's very rare if somebody wins a lottery. Yeah, people win the lottery every day, but you know, out of millions and millions of people, one person wins the lottery. Same thing with YouTube. I don't know what the exact numbers are. Highly unlikely. So with that in mind, you should not bank that you're going to be that rare successful person in YouTube. You know, I do YouTube, as I explained in a previous video, for a few reasons. And none of those reasons has to do with making a lot of money on YouTube. I make a little bit, but nothing much. I just put on monetization like, might as well. You know, helps pay for some of my cameras. But in the end, the YouTube thing for me allows me to promote my work in my business, which has to do with Studio Web and helping schools teach code. It helps me to perfect my ability to speak in front of the camera. It's helped me a lot, by the way, where by doing daily vlogs almost for like 6, 7, 8 months now, not quite daily, but quite a few, it's really helped me to become a better presenter. And becoming a better presenter translates into somewhat better courses, you know, courses that are more easily presented, makes a lot less work for myself and my editors, since I'll be making less mistakes. But anyway, there are other reasons as well. So back to the California Gold Rush. Remember, before you go out and spend all kinds of money on expensive gear and so forth, remember that these YouTube vloggers out there, they were able to succeed with, you know, by today's standards, a lot of them with much less expensive gear. And in fact, PewDiePie, I believe, uses a one camera, video camera. It's just him, and he's the most successful in the world by far. So before you go out there and start nitpicking the gear and spending thousands on mics and cameras and stuff, consider the fact that chances are you won't make much money, if anybody. Chances are. Now, I'm not saying not do it, but you just got to proceed with some caution, and you got to proceed into this whole YouTube thing, like any other business, with caution and with realistic expectations and an ability to be flexible in how you approach things. In a previous video, I talked about being original. Don't copy everybody outright. You can borrow ideas, but don't copy because it's been done. It's not going to work. One of the key things that you learn in business is that the early movers are the ones who make the money. The first ones to market with an idea or a concept or a business model are the ones who usually dominate. So for instance, Microsoft came in there, was really the first to do the operating system for the desktop PC. And they really dominated that, and nobody else comes close. I can cite a whole bunch of other examples, but in terms of vlogging and YouTube and so forth, again, guys like Casey Neistat and others, they've sort of established the style that they're known for. And you copying them, chances are it won't lead to much success at all, especially since everybody and his neighbor is now copying these people. So the California Gold Rush is a great teacher. And I would have to say that chances are the people making the most money off of YouTube are the people selling the cameras, Canon, Sony, Panasonic, and all the dealers and the microphone suppliers as well. I'm sure Rode Mic is doing amazing business selling microphones to vloggers. And I'm sure Canon and Sony are doing fantastic selling cameras to vloggers. Keep that in mind. So again, I would say get into it. It's a lot of fun if you want to get into it, but be realistic with your expectations and be cautious about the amount of money you spend. At the end of the day, if you get a $500 camera that shoots pretty good and versus a $5,000 camera that shoots very, very good, I don't think the video quality between the two is going to have any impact in terms of whether or not your YouTube career is successful or not. Just keep that in mind. I hope that helps. Ciao, ciao.